I never figured I'd turn into one of those folks who blast their messy life all over the internet, but here I am, needing to unload this crap. My tale ain't some over-the-top movie or a cheesy daytime drama, it's just my raw, screwed-up reality. If you've ever felt your heart get yanked out and stomped on, you'll get where I'm coming from. This whole mess is about getting stabbed in the back, plotting some payback, and yeah, maybe me being a dumbass for a bit. But every damn word I'm about to say, it's the honest-to-God truth. Let's skip the fluff and get right to it. My wife went and screwed me over for a paycheck, not for some grand romance or wild fling, just straight-up cash. She hooked up with this guy because he could toss her the fancy stuff I couldn't afford. We're talking high-dollar, luxurious junk. Looking back now, I feel like a total moron for not catching on earlier. She played me like a fiddle, and I just let it happen. Let me rewind to how it all kicked off. My name's not worth mentioning yet, just picture me as your typical guy next door. I punch the clock in IT, nothing flashy, but it keeps the lights on. I've always had this itch to ditch the 8-to-4 grind and start something of my own, maybe in tech, like an app or some IT consulting gig to put my name on the map. Thing is, dreams like that need a fat stack of cash, and I wasn't exactly swimming in it. That's where the trouble started creeping in. Then there's Lauren, my wife, or ex-wife, I should say now. She's the type who stops traffic when she strolls into a place. Imagine this: long, dark hair that always looked like it belonged in a shampoo ad, a smile that could thaw a freezer, and a figure that'd make any guy forget what he was saying mid-sentence. She knew she was a knockout, and man, did she work it. When we first got together, I thought I'd hit the jackpot. She was a blast, sharp as a tack, and sure, she liked pricey stuff, but I brushed it off. Who doesn't dream of the good life, right? At first, it was little things, a slick designer purse one day, some ridiculous heels the next. I didn't sweat it much, I just figured I wasn't pulling in enough dough and needed to hustle harder. But as time rolled on, I started picking up on more. It wasn't just clothes she was into, she was hooked on the whole luxury game. We're talking the kind of brands you see splashed across celebrity social media, stuff that screams money. She'd go on about how she deserved the top-shelf life because she looked the part, like her beauty wasn't just luck, it was her damn ATM card. I didn't clock that until it was way too late. Now, don't get me twisted, I wasn't scraping by or anything. We had a solid apartment, took a trip now and then, but I wasn't drowning in cash either. My IT gig was steady, and I was holding my own, but I wasn't raking in the kind of bucks to drop $2,000 on a phone or $800 on a shirt every few weeks. That's when the friction kicked in. We'd bicker about money, but not in a "let's hash this out" kind of way. She'd just drop these snarky little jabs. Stuff like, "Be nice to jet off somewhere tropical for once," or "I saw this killer dress today, too bad we can't swing it." It drove me up the wall. I was killing myself at work, trying to stash some savings for us, and she was acting like life was one big missed shopping spree. I'd try to lay it out for her, we gotta stick to what we can afford, but she'd just clam up. That heavy silence that makes you feel like you're the one screwing up, like you're not measuring up. So I started picking up extra gigs, freelance stuff, side hustles, whatever I could grab, to pile up more cash. I had this tech startup idea I was pumped about, something I thought could really pop, but we were trapped in this money-sucking spiral. Every time I got ahead, she'd want something new, like her craving for useless crap had no off switch. The first big warning sign. Her damn phone. We were having a regular dinner one night, nothing fancy, just pasta and a glass of wine at our little kitchen table. Her phone was sitting there by her plate, and I reached across for the bread or whatever, I don't even recall. Quick as lightning, she snatched it up like I'd tripped a wire. I stopped dead. What the hell was that about? You hiding something? I tossed out, half laughing but totally serious. She shot me this icy stare I'd never seen before and snapped, "No. Everybody gets their own space. Keep your hands off my stuff." That hit me sideways, we'd never had walls between us, or so I thought. But that night, something clicked. Shit was off, and I didn't have a clue what. After that, her phone turned into Fort Knox. She hauled it everywhere, bathroom, bedroom, you name it, gripping it like it'd rat her out if I got too close. I didn't want to be that paranoid jerk snooping through her stuff, but it was gnawing at me. One day, when she was at work, I couldn't take it anymore. I spotted her phone on the counter, grabbed it, my heart thumping like I was about to crack a safe. Locked, naturally, and not with the old code I knew. She'd switched it up. I was pissed, but I set it back down, pretending everything was fine. Inside, though, I knew the game had changed. Then came the handbag, that's when the puzzle pieces started snapping together. She'd been strutting around with this new purse, swearing it was a cheap knockoff she snagged online. But one day, I was alone, staring at that bag like it was laughing in my face. I picked it up and hit Google. Turns out that fake was the real deal, $5,000 worth of designer swagger. I was floored. Sitting there on the couch, phone in hand, I dug into every detail, serial numbers, stitching, the works. No question, it was legit. And that's when it hit me like a truck. The phone, the clothes, the shoes, all that fancy crap. She wasn't scoring deals or dipping into her own paycheck. Somebody else was footing the bill. That night, I laid it out plain. "This bag real?" I asked, holding it up like I was in a damn courtroom. She didn't flinch. "Nah, it's just a solid fake, you can't even tell, right?" But I wasn't swallowing her line this time. I saw through it, she was lying right to my face, and I felt like the world's biggest chump for buying her act all along. I wasn't about to let it explode into a full-on brawl, though. Not right then. I just didn't feel ready to throw down. I couldn't go off half-cocked with nothing but a gut feeling. I needed something solid, cold, hard proof. And let me tell you, once I got my hands on it, things were gonna get a whole lot uglier before they even thought about getting better. This was just the start of the mess. I had no clue how far down this crazy rabbit hole went, but I was about to dig in and find out. So, buckle up, because this is where the real stuff kicks off. After that whole fiasco with the handbag, I couldn't keep brushing it under the rug. No more sitting there, acting like everything was peachy, while my wife, Lauren, the woman I thought I had all figured out, was straight up lying to my face every day. But I wasn't about to call her out without the full picture locked down. I had to catch her red-handed, you know. One morning, I had the day off, but I didn't let Lauren in on that little detail. She was up early, looking like $1,000,000 in one of her sharp outfits, makeup perfect, saying she was off to work, or at least that's what she told me. That's when it hit me like a ton of bricks. Why not tail her? If she was feeding me a load of bull, I'd see it with my own eyes. Worst case, she'd actually be at work, and I'd just look like a paranoid fool. But deep down, something told me she wasn't heading where she said. She gave me the usual peck goodbye, snatched her bag, and strolled out the door. I hung back a couple minutes, just long enough so she wouldn't get wise, and then I was on her trail. I stayed a good distance behind as she walked down the street, but man, my heart was hammering like I was in some cheesy spy flick. My palms were slick with sweat, and my brain was buzzing with a million what-ifs. What if she wasn't going to work? What if she was sneaking off to meet some other guy? What if? Then, boom, it happened. She didn't head to her job. She didn't even point herself in that direction. I shadowed her for about 15 minutes, but then she slipped away from me. She hopped into a taxi, and before I could jot down the license plate or keep pace, that thing peeled out. I just stood there, watching those taillights fade, feeling like the world dropped out from under me. But I wasn't ready to throw in the towel that easy. I figured I'd swing by her workplace and poke around a bit. When I rolled up, I spotted one of the employees I'd met before, probably from some office party or a time I'd picked Lauren up. She knew me too, gave me a little nod of recognition. I played it smooth, asking if Lauren was around or maybe just on a break. Then the hammer dropped. "Oh, she doesn't work here anymore," the lady said, all casual like it was no big deal. "What's that supposed to mean?" I choked out, trying to keep my voice from cracking. "She hasn't been here for at least 4 months. I figured you knew that." My heart damn near stopped. 4 months. Lauren had been strutting out the door every morning like clockwork, acting like she had a job to go to, and she'd been unemployed the whole time. It felt like a sucker punch to the gut. I mumbled a thanks and stumbled out of there, my head spinning like a top. The rage boiling up inside me was scorching. I wanted to storm home, wait for her, and rip into her good. This wasn't just about cash anymore. It was about trust, shattered trust. She'd been feeding me lies day after day. On the drive back, I couldn't hold it in any longer. I dialed up my best bud Jake and unloaded the whole mess. I was fuming, barely seeing straight. "I'm done, Jake," I growled, white-knuckling the steering wheel. "I'm laying into her tonight. She's got no clue what's coming." But Jake, cool-headed as always, talked me off the ledge. "Man, don't go off half-cocked," he said. "Your marriage is dangling by a thread here. If you charge in screaming, you might never get the full story. What if there's more to this than you're seeing?" he added. And damn it, he was right, even if I hated hearing it. If I lost it now, I might never know who she was really with or why she was playing me. I wasn't ready to call it quits without all the cards on the table. "I need you, man," I told him. "Help me figure this out." Jake was in, and we hatched a plan. Next day, I'd act like I was off to work as usual, but instead, Jake and I would tail her together. His car was perfect for it, tinted windows, quiet engine, totally under the radar. So that's how it went down. I got up, threw on my work clothes, gave Lauren a kiss goodbye like everything was fine, and walked out. But instead of hitting the office, I linked up with Jake at the corner, slid into his ride, and we followed her. She grabbed a taxi again, but this time, we stayed on her. She didn't veer toward some seedy motel or a pal's place. Nope. That cab dropped her off in one of the ritziest parts of town. We're talking gated streets, million-dollar mansions, the kind of spot where folks don't just own one fancy car, they've got a garage full of them. Lauren stepped out, glanced around like she was checking for eyes on her, and marched up to one of those swanky houses. Get this, she didn't knock or ring the bell. She fished a key out of her bag and let herself in like she owned the damn place. Jake and I parked down the street, just watching. The house was massive, with a driveway that screamed big money. We camped out there all day, trying to wrap our heads around what we were seeing. Sun was dipping low when the door swung open again, and out came Lauren. But she wasn't solo this time. Some guy trailed her, tall, decked out in sharp clothes, maybe late 30s, oozing wealth from every pore. He had his arms slung around her like they were a thing, like it was second nature. Jake whipped out his phone and snapped a pic of the dude. "Let's ID this jerk," he muttered as we started digging online. Didn't take long to peg him. The guy cozying up to my wife was some hotshot real estate bigwig. All over the web, articles, interviews, fancy charity events, you name it. And the cherry on top. His Instagram. Plenty of pics of him, sure, but not a single one with Lauren. Nah, his feed was plastered with shots of another woman. His wife. I felt like I was gonna puke. There it was, staring me in the face, the proof I'd been dreading. My wife, the woman I'd been sharing a bed with, dreaming up a future with, was living a whole other life. And this guy? Not just some fling, he was hitched too. Jake and I just sat there, dead quiet, letting it all sink in. We couldn't move on it yet. Not without more juice. I had to go home, act like everything was normal, like I hadn't just seen my wife waltz out of another man's house. I couldn't lose it. Not yet. I told Jake we'd tackle it tomorrow. We had to. But that night, I had to keep my poker face on. So I did. I went home, stepped through the door, and planted a kiss on her like nothing was wrong. But deep down, I knew everything had flipped upside down. After what I'd witnessed the day before, I couldn't shake it. The picture of Lauren strolling out of that house with some rich guy, grinning like she didn't have a care in the world, was burned into my brain. Free. My head was spinning like crazy, working double time. I knew I had to take some kind of action, but I was stumped. What the hell was I supposed to do? Yelling at Lauren didn't feel like the smart play, not just yet, anyway. I needed more pieces of the puzzle first. Then, out of nowhere, a light bulb flicked on in my brain. That businessman kept popping into my thoughts, like an itch I couldn't scratch. His smug face, his perfect little online persona, his whole damn life laid out for everyone to gawk at, it wouldn't leave me alone. But the kicker? The wife in all his pictures wasn't Lauren. So I pulled up his Instagram again and started digging through his posts, scrolling like a man possessed. There he was, living it up, fancy vacations, 5-star meals, exotic beaches, always with his real wife right there next to him. She was a stunner, no doubt about it. Not in that loud, showy way Lauren had going, all glitz and greed, but in this quiet, classy way that didn't need to scream for attention. It didn't take me long to track her down. She popped up in a bunch of his shots, and her account was tagged plain as day. I clicked over to her profile. It was locked down, private, but that didn't faze me one bit. I wasn't looking to creep on her posts or anything like that. Nah, I had a bolder idea brewing. I sat there for a few minutes, chewing over how to word the damn message. This wasn't gonna be a picnic for her, and I didn't want to sound like some unhinged nutjob. So I kept it short and sweet. Hey, I'm reaching out, 'cause I've got something big about your husband you need to hear. I didn't want to spill too much over text, too risky. Could we meet up instead? It's worth knowing, and we can do it somewhere public, wherever you're cool with. I hit send and just sat there, wondering if she'd even bite. But she did. Less than 2 hours later, her reply popped up. She was in, said we could link up the next day at a packed cafe downtown. The next morning, I got there early, my nerves buzzing like a live wire. I had no clue what I was walking into. Would she flip out? Call me a liar? But when she strolled in, she was cool as a cucumber, carrying that same easy grace I'd clocked in her pictures. We grabbed a table, swapped some small talk, weather, coffee, the usual, and then I laid it all out. No holding back. I told her how I'd tailed Lauren, found the house, saw the photos, and dropped the bomb. Her husband was screwing around with my wife. She just sat there, listening, her face not giving much away at first. When I wrapped up, she let out a slow breath and said, "I've got to see this for myself. Give me your number, I'll reach out." She didn't seem floored or crushed, more like she'd half expected it, like her husband pulling this crap wasn't exactly a shocker. She got up, thanked me for coming clean, and walked out, leaving me sitting there second-guessing if I'd done the right thing. 5 days dragged by after that, the longest, roughest 5 days I'd ever slogged through. At home, I had to play dumb, acting like the same old oblivious husband, when really, I knew every dirty detail. Lauren kept heading off to work every day, but now I knew exactly where she was sneaking off to. Every time she pecked me goodbye, it was like a rusty blade twisting in my stomach. Then, 5 days later, my phone rang. It was her. "Can you swing by my place?" she asked, her voice steady, too steady, almost eerie. I could tell something was cooking. I said yeah, and later that day, I rolled up to her house. It was a stunner, big, fancy, way classier than the cramped apartment Lauren and I were stuck in. She met me at the door and ushered me into the living room. A bottle of wine sat on the table, 2 glasses next to it, but this wasn't some cozy chat, I could feel it. I hired a PI, she said, cutting right to it. He backed up everything you told me. My husband's been renting that place for weeks, shacking up with your wife there, showering her with pricey stuff, jewelry, clothes, phones, you name it. She poured herself a glass, took a long gulp, and locked eyes with me. I'm gonna destroy him, she said, her tone ice-cold and dead serious. He thinks he can pull this and walk away clean, but he doesn't know who he's messing with. Her words hit like a sledgehammer. This wasn't some pushover wife. She had a scheme brewing, and it wasn't gonna end pretty for him. She downed her wine, poured another, then glanced my way, sizing me up. Want some? She asked. I nodded. Hell yeah, I did. I needed something to dull the edge, and I figured she did too. We talked for a bit after that. She opened up about her life, how her dad built the company her husband was running now. Her old man was loaded, influential, the type whose name could get you in anywhere or shut you out just as fast. She didn't drop his name, and I got the vibe it was better left unsaid. This was a woman raised with clout and cash, and she knew how to wield it like a pro. A few glasses in, the conversation loosened up. She was sharp, clever, and yeah, a little scary, if I'm honest. Then, out of the blue, she hit me with a curveball. Wanna have sex? No flirty build-up, no coy games, just straight up asked it like she was offering me a coffee. I blinked at her, thrown for a loop, but then I realized I didn't need to overthink it. Yeah, I said. The next hour or so was a wild, sweaty blur. She knew what she was doing, no question about it. She took charge, no hesitation, no second guessing. It felt almost like a deal being sealed, but I wasn't complaining. I was too caught up in the rush, the break from all the crap weighing me down. When it was done, I walked out of her place feeling weirdly good, not just from the sex, but from finally grabbing some control in this whole damn mess. She wasn't just a cheated-on wife licking her wounds. She was a force, dead set on payback, and now I was tangled up in it, like it or not. That night, when I got home after everything with her, I couldn't keep faking it anymore. The second I stepped inside, I knew it was time to face Lauren. Screw playing it cool, I'd seen too much, knew too much, and she'd screwed me over one time too many. I slammed the door hard, and it must have jolted her, 'cause she spun around, eyes wide, like she could smell the storm coming. We gotta talk, I growled, my voice low but shaking with rage. She barely glanced up from her phone, still swiping away like nothing was up. That pissed me off even more. I stormed over and let it rip. I know it all, I said, my voice climbing. The businessmen, the house, the lies, you think I'm that dumb? You're a damn idiot if you thought I wouldn't figure it out. That snapped her out of it. She dropped her phone, shot to her feet, her face twisting into this mix of fury and contempt. She didn't even bother denying it. So what? She fired back. I don't need you, I haven't for a long time. You're just a stand-in, a nobody. He's the one taking care of me now. He loves me. He's ditching his wife, and we're gonna be together. The sheer nerve of it slammed into me like a runaway truck. There she was, standing right in front of me, practically bragging about how she'd been biding her time, waiting for this guy to ditch his wife for her. It was sad, honestly, downright pitiful. You seriously believe he's gonna drop his wife for you? I asked, letting out a sharp, bitter chuckle. You're living in a fairy tale, Lauren. She shot me a death glare, arms folded tight, like she couldn't fathom me not buying into her little soap opera. He will, she snapped back, doubling down. Just wait, you'll see. I locked eyes with her, my tone flat and heavy. I'm filing for divorce, I said. You can keep chasing your delusions, but I'm out. We're finished. She just smirked, letting out a little scoff. Good riddance, she tossed back. You should have done that ages ago. And with that, she snatched up her bag, shoved a couple things inside, and strutted out the door, no sorry, no regrets, just this icy, detached vibe. She had no clue the storm that was about to crash down on her in a few days. A couple days later, her perfect little world with that businessman. It all went up in smoke. His wife, that woman with the quiet steel I'd met, she wasn't just twiddling her thumbs after we talked. She'd been plotting, and man, did she deliver. With her dad's muscle behind her, she tore her husband's business apart, stripped him down to nothing, not even a dime to his name. Word trickled back to me through the rumor mill, but I didn't bother chasing the full scoop, I didn't care that much. All I knew was Lauren's dream bubble popped faster than a cheap balloon. Me. I went ahead and filed for divorce, and it sailed through quicker than I'd figured. Lauren didn't even push back, why would she? She thought she'd already traded up. Then, out of nowhere, my phone rang, it was the businessman's wife again. She asked me to swing by her place. I wasn't sure what she wanted, but I showed up anyway. When I got there, she handed me a glass of wine, and we settled into her living room. So, she said, eyeing me with this cool, measured look, what's your price for spilling all this dirt? At first, I brushed it off. I don't want anything, I told her. I'm just glad the truth's out. But then I mulled it over. I'd been grinding away at a dead-end gig forever, and there was this idea I'd been kicking around in my head for a while. Actually, I said, there's one thing. I've got this startup concept. It's still raw, but I think it could go somewhere. She leaned in, listening close, but when I finished laying it out, she shook her head. Nope, she said, blunt as a hammer. Not like that. Come back tomorrow with something solid. I didn't mess around. That night, I stayed up hammering out my idea, sharpening it, making it real. Next day, I rolled back up to her place, and she wasn't alone this time. Some guy, a business analyst, was there with her. He sat through my pitch, fired off a few questions, then leaned over and muttered something to her. She gave a slow nod, turned to me, and said, okay. I'll fund it, but if it takes off, I'm taking 40%. I was floored. I knew she had pull, but I didn't expect her to actually bite. It was beyond anything I'd dreamed up. I said yes on the spot, no second thoughts. And now, here I am, scribbling this down while I pull together a crew to launch this thing. I can't spill the beans yet, but I've got a gut feeling it's gonna pay off big. Ain't it wild how life twists? What kicked off as the crappiest chapter of my existence is flipping into something that might just rewrite my whole story. Thanks, Reddit, for letting me unload all this. Sometimes life drags you down a path you'd never pick, but maybe that's how it's supposed to work, you never know what's lurking around the bend. Fast forward 8 months since that whole mess blew up, and looking back, it feels like a different lifetime. I'm sitting here in my office, yeah, my office, typing this update, and I can't help but feel this weird mix of pride and, no way this is real. Life's good now, damn good, and I owe a chunk of that to the hard knocks I took when everything hit rock bottom. Let's start with the business. That startup I mentioned. It shot up faster than I could have hoped. The businessman's ex-wife, my investor, came through like she promised, handed me the cash I needed, and I built a team that bought into my crazy vision. It wasn't a cakewalk, though. Those early months were a grind, sleepless nights, non-stop meetings, tinkering with the product, till it clicked. But it paid off. Now, the company's humming along, raking in clients left and right, growing so fast I can barely keep up with my own daydreams from back when this was just a spark. And no, before you wonder, me and her, the investor, it's all above board. She's a no BS kind of woman, keeps it strictly business. We meet up regular, but it's always about the numbers, the next steps. No weird vibes, no repeats of that one wild night. We've both moved on, and it's smooth sailing. Now, the juicy bit, Lauren, my ex. She came slinking back, believe it or not. I didn't see that coming, not after how she torched everything and waltzed out. But once word got around that my business was killing it, suddenly I was on her radar again. It started small, just a text, real casual. "Hey, how you holding up?" Like she hadn't nuked our marriage for some sleazy side piece. I didn't bite. Then the messages kept coming, piling up, getting whinier. She started dropping lines about missing me, screwing up, not knowing what she had, till it was gone, textbook stuff, right? The best part? She called one night, all sugar and fake tears, feeding me the usual garbage. "I still care about you. We were special. Maybe we could try again." But I knew the deal, she didn't give a rat's ass about me. She just sniffed out the cash, the wins, and thought she could worm her way back in like it was nothing. I let her ramble for a minute, then cut her off cold. "Go to hell," I said, plain and simple. The dead air on her end said it all, she wasn't ready for that. I hung up and didn't blink twice. She can stew in the wreckage she made. Enough about her, though. There's someone new in the picture now. I met this girl a couple months back, let's call her Emily. She's a breath of fresh air. No games, no baggage, no ulterior motives. We crossed paths at a buddy's party, totally random, and just hit it off. She's got a killer sense of humor, she's sharp, real grounded, and doesn't care about flashy nonsense. I haven't told her much about the business yet, not the nitty-gritty, anyway. It's not that I don't trust her, I just want to be sure she's into me for me, not the bank account or the hype. We've been hanging out a ton, and I'll admit, I'm getting pretty hooked. It's nice, you know. Being with someone who doesn't want anything from me except the real deal, just me being me. After all the chaos I've waded through, it's like a cold beer on a hot day. I'm not rushing to clue her in on the company stuff. That'll come when the moment feels right. For now, I'm just soaking up getting to know her, keeping it simple, no strings, no mess. So, that's where I'm at these days. 10 months back, I was smack in the middle of the darkest hole I'd ever fallen into, everything crashing down, my life a total wreck. And now? Here I am, steering a business that's actually kicking ass, surrounded by a crew that's all in on this dream we're chasing together. I've clawed my way back to something solid, and even better, I've got this spark of hope lighting up what's ahead. I want to wrap this up by giving a shout out to everyone who's stuck with me, reading along as I spilled my guts. Life's got a way of tossing you into messes that feel like they'll swallow you whole, situations you think you'll never crawl out of. But take it from me, if I could make it through that hell, you've got it in you too. Put some faith in yourself, in that grit you've got to come out tougher, and don't ever let anybody convince you you're worth less than you are. Success isn't just about stacking cash or flexing power, you know. It's about taking the hits, picking up the pieces, and turning into the best damn version of you there is. I had to learn that the rough way, getting beat down by lessons that stung like hell, but I'm thankful for them now, crazy as that sounds.